Hi, it's Shannon. I'm back. It's part two of, as I already said once, this is my perspective and my part of learning my story. I learned my husband had rectal cancer. So the second little section of this, there are many sections at this point, is the trip to our local hospital. We got there, we got checked in. They asked us some questions. I told them what was going on. They immediately took him to get labs. And there was not a lot of people there. Thank goodness it was Friday afternoon, evening, and it was not Friday night. Thank goodness. I can't even imagine. I'm guessing it would have been really bad. So, but what happened next is while they were doing the labs, and it was a small little room, like a closet-sized area where they're doing these labs or drawing blood, rather. And while the young lady's doing it, my husband began to have kind of a compulsion. I mean, a convulsion, a convulsion. And later they said it all goes under the lines of seizure. I didn't know that. So, and I'm guessing because he'd already lost quite a bit of blood and his blood pressure was probably dropping. I don't really know. I don't think they do either. So I just started, I just kind of held him up, and she's got a needle in his arm. So, and she was very young. I think she was determining what to do. So I stepped my kind of holding him up and put my head out the doorway of this little room and said, "Can you help us? Can you help us?" to whoever was coming by. And of course, it's medical staff. And somebody did come in there, and it happened twice in about what was probably a minute. But it feels like a really long time. But looking back and also perspective now, I'm sure it's probably over a minute and a half. So after that, he comes out of that. It was very short, very quick, 2 little episodes, and they put him in a room, designed for people who have seizures. So at this point, they're like confused. I think he has a seizure disorder, and he's bleeding, and I'm like, he doesn't have a seizure disorder. He doesn't have epilepsy. This does not happen. And so at this point, that kind of allowed for us to get the doctor's attention and treatment a little quicker than us having to wait longer for other people to be seen, because they are evaluating, how seriously ill you are, or what's going on. So in the meantime, his blood pressure while I'm in the room dropped a couple of times where they had to come and help him. And honestly, that was like the scariest part of this whole thing. I mean, and yet, I was in such a state of, this can't be happening while it's happening. It's kind of hard to explain. You're just kind of going through the motions, and also realizing, like, I'm alone in the room most of the time with my husband, so I need to be a voice for him and help him. But you don't even know you're doing that. You don't even know you're doing it until afterward. So his heart rate was dropping pretty good, back and forth, and a few times, and then so the doctor did come in, and they're trying to kind of, I think, figure out what's going on with him a little quicker so that they can get him help, because they're realizing he's more in need. And, the doctor came in, and, well, first of all, he kept having to go to the bathroom. And I don't think I knew that was going on at this point so quickly. He was having to go to the bathroom quite a bit during this time. He said he felt pressure, and finally the nurse convinces him to, hey, next time you go to the bathroom, don't flush it. Hey, we need to see what's going on. And when the nurse saw that he's actively bleeding, and that's what they said, oh my gosh, he's actively bleeding. They went and got the doctor, and the doctor came and examined him. And, looking back, you don't realize until afterward what is really happening. So they can't diagnose you with cancer in the ER at your local rural hospital, right? They're not going to tell you that. But I recall the doctor, after examining him and saying, oh yeah, he went and he saw that he was actively bleeding, and then he examined him, and he just looked at my husband and I was off to the side, and he said, we don't have a gastroenterologist doctor available here until Monday. So we're going to send you to the city. We're going to have you taken by ambulance. But something he said that was so telling now, or even just maybe, a couple weeks after hearing this, was that he literally said they're going to be looking for, they're going to be looking for, he said cancer, and he did his head like this, and he turned. They're going to be looking for, they're going to look for cancer. Well, when someone's shaking their head at you like this, and then later you realize what's happened, he's telling you, but you don't know. And so in the next couple of hours, they would transport my husband to San Antonio to get a colonoscopy in a really big hospital downtown. So that's part 2 of this story, and yet I still was not told he had cancer yet because they hadn't done the tests. Stay tuned for part 3.